But if we can ride the wave and we can bounce back and we can implement new ways with energy and with belief and with grit, you can turn the business. You're listening to The Functional Founder with Themi Sturgianus, a podcast for owner-operators ready to build high-performance teams, handle growth with confidence, and scale without burning out. Founders, I have a question for you. Do you believe that you can build your business to work profitably without you? You see, last year I didn't believe that. In fact, I started my business a couple of years ago with all the gumption in the world that I can build this business profitably without me. In fact, I taught hundreds, if not thousands, of entrepreneurs in groups. And the concept that I've taught them is building businesses profitably without you. In fact, I bought a licensed coaching franchise system where I really grew in that community to be amongst the top 10 out of 800, 900 coaches worldwide, nationally, in fact, teaching entrepreneurs and founders to grow their businesses to work profitably and without them. But there was a disconnect for me. And the disconnect was that I was starting to become too theoretical. I wasn't understanding that growing a business is not for sissies. The things that entrepreneurs go through, in fact, the failure rate in the startup businesses is so high that only a small percentage makes it after 5 to 7 years. Those statistics can be queried. They're very much available, which means that founders have a very hard time growing enterprises. But here's the thing. Last year, I realized that we'd been through too much. There was too much change. There were a total rebrand of our business. In fact, Waterproof Lab now became LabWorks, where we're doing roofs, pools, and waterproofing. We hired new people. We introduced a new CRM system. We introduced and fine-tuned our online job card system. We introduced reporting systems where we could really work on some numbers and KPIs, key KPIs in our business. We even got a fractional CFO, Chief Financial Officer, to coach some of our team members, or one of our team members at least. We've been on 1 or 2 courses. There's been so much change. We even moved to new premises. And we had a dysfunctional team member towards the end of last year that made our life a terrible misery. And last year, I couldn't wait to get home. I couldn't wait to shut down. And we're at that shutdown time of this year. And I feel a little different because I think things have changed. In fact, last year when we shut down, I went home and I told Ellie, might even close the business because it's just too frustrating. And I think a lot of founders get to the stage where they've tried all these things and they're pushing for gold. Then the wheels come loose, much like a skateboard going down a hill. You know, when you're young and you're going down a skateboard with a skateboard down a hill and you get that speed wobble, you just feel you want to jump off and take the pain, scrape the knees, fall, because you just decide right then and there, okay, I'm jumping. I'm not going to ride it out until it stabilizes at the bottom of the hill and I've made it. So we jump. Luckily, I didn't do that because my dad taught me well. I remember his words. He passed 2 years ago, but he said it and it stuck to me. He said, it's not how hard we fall, it's how quick we get up. And I think he got the quote from Mike Tyson. We don't give up. We push through. If we want to be a statistic of failure, we have to embrace failure methodologies. And that means we need to be the typical entrepreneur who gives up. But if we can ride the wave and we can bounce back and we can implement new ways with energy and with belief and with grit, you can turn the business. Last year, I got back in January. I called my team together. I said, guys, we're turning it around. We can't afford to let our hard work fall on the way like that. We can build other business together if we can, because we've got a core of 18 players, which is probably sitting around 30% of our business. 18 players, that is. But we didn't have the majority of them being A players. And I said to them, guys, the way we're going to take this business to the next level is not how, it's who. Who do we get on board so that we can delegate key tasks to them that can take the load and build this business with us, not against us? We don't want to spoon feed people the whole time. We don't want to make people accountable the whole time. See, that's the thing. Team players will look at you if you have a D team player not performing. fact, let's have a look at this little two-way graph that I developed for my team and myself, and we're still refining it. But if you can see on the top right-hand area, we've got the A players, and they fit the graph, which is on the left, which is they're a values fit, high in value and high in performance, which is the bottom graph. They meet those criteria. And that to me is an A-team player if they can fit the values. One of our values is communication. Are they communicating? Are they holding the values? Are they holding other people account to the values? When they employ people, do they take them to the board and show them the values and say, listen, this is what we stand for. This is what we fight for. And the performance is also important. Are they meeting their KPIs? Do they go over and beyond? Do they do more than what they are set out to do? If their role in their business is to do X, Y, Z, are they doing more than X, Y, Z? You'll know. We don't have to complicate it, but we'll know once we start rating them out of 10, and that's the first element of this whole process, and there's 3 of them. The first element is to find a way to rate your employees, and we rate them from a scale of 1 to 10 using the value fit and the performance. The second area is to evaluate and give them a label, A, B, C, or D, because the polar opposite of an A is a D, and a D player is low performance and low value fit. And that just doesn't make sense. Why would we want to have a D player in our team? And I can tell you now, I'm guilty of it. I've tolerated people that have started with us that aren't team players, and they're not fitting. They might be high performers or semi-high performers, but they don't fit the character of a high performer and a high value fit. And we tolerate them. And here's the thing. If we're having a tough time in our business, it's because we're not holding a high standard for our people, including ourselves. And founders, we get what we tolerate. If we tolerate substandard, we will get substandard. And this little graph or matrix has really had a good impact on the team, and we'll grow on it and we'll work on it. We'll really try and refine it and make it better, but we'll evaluate our team on a regular basis to try and build an organization that will work profitably with us. This year, it's been going much better. We're going to be closing our chapter in the next couple of days for this year. We're going away on a function. We're really looking forward to it. And the team, we're going to celebrate. And did we have a hard time? Of course we had a hard time. But getting 1 or 2 A players on this year has made the world of difference in our business. And next year, it will be the same. We will focus on getting better and better players. I had a question from one of the founders and said, how do you get A players on board in a business when you can't afford to pay them? And that's a legitimate objection, if I can say, to this process. That's a concern. And I went through that. But slowly extracting yourself as a founder and really being tough on who you're recruiting and holding people's standard up there and building a culture that people love to be there, you'll be surprised that you'll be able to get some A players that will be happy to work in an environment for a little bit less and grow with the business until they are earning what they're supposed to be earning as A players. In fact, one of my A players I gave shares to in one of my companies, because I believed he had earned the right. Another employee has been with me for years. I have not given him shares because I don't think he has earned the right. He's not a team player, and we need to have a team player. We need someone to have a value fit in the organization. We need someone to be aligned. Founders, that's all I have for today's podcast. If you liked what you heard, please like and share or even comment in this podcast. YouTube is my main channel as well. If you can comment in there, please share this with like-minded entrepreneurs. We want to grow this community because someone's destined to hear this and someone's right there where they probably need to take this information or receive this information to take their business to the next level. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining The Functional Founder. This podcast grows through you, our founder community. Please share this with someone who needs it and click on the subscribe button. That way, more people can join us.